Jocasta Nu has finally joined the holotables, ladies and gentlemen, and today we are going to be talking about her application and her use, Zeta priorities, Omicron priorities, how to mod, and what do we do with her? Great. We're going to be doing Nightfall Error Battle later on stream today, so make sure you check that out. I'll have a new guide out for that. It seems as though we've got CX2 up and running now. I'm hyped. Let's do this. All right, here we are. Wonderful, wonderful Jocasta Nu coming in hot, baby. Brand new old grandma ready to set out and terrorize the masses of the holotables. Now, from what I can gather, early testing is pretty shoddy, but I will say this. Hold your horses. She doesn't have her team yet. She is literally just one fraction of the Jedi Vanguard team that we're going to get. There's going to be Jedi Master Mace Windu coming out in, about 2 months' time. We're going to have 2 additional brand new Jedi Vanguard characters to come join this team, and then 1 from the existing Jedi Vanguard faction that we have. So do not be disheartened if this girl just doesn't perform great right now. I have taken her to Relic 8 straight away because we know she is going to be used in the new raid, and I'm pretty comfortable that brand new Conquest units are still going to be viable at some point in the future. She does have triple Omicrons and a very convoluted and confusing kit, as this is the way CG likes to do things. Smashing. Alright, so what I want to talk about, I want to talk about where we're going to use her right now. Most people are not really going to have much use for her because the Jedi Vanguard faction doesn't really endear itself to a Jocasta Nu team right now. With that being said, I do think she belongs under Keller and Beck. You can't really use her with Qui-Gon Jinn and his Omicron because Qui-Gon Jinn really wants to be used with Anakin and Cam, and neither of those characters are Jedi Vanguard, and she requires a full Jedi Vanguard team to be halfway useful. So the only team that really makes sense to me as a leadership is Keller and Beck because he's pretty decent, he's got a Territory War Omicron, and it just works, right? Now, currently, from what I saw from Arnold's footage, it was just getting smashed by basically everything. However, that is the place you're going to use her if you have her at the moment. Failing that, you don't have many good options, guys. I'll be honest, I'm not going to pretend like the old school Jedi Council factions are good. So let's talk about 3v3 right now because that is the environment we're in GAC. Keller and Beck, Shakti, and Jocasta Nu is the team that I'm going to be using. Could you go in with Luminara and her Omicron? Probably, but I'm not throwing that Omicron on until we've seen some footage, and I advise you wait and do the same as well. I do think that long term she's not going to be with Luminara and 3s. Maybe Luminara will form the 5th as part of the wider Keller and Beck team. Not Keller and Beck, sorry, Mace Windu team. That remains to be seen, but I'm not going to jump the gun and take guesses with my Omicrons, and neither should you. All right, let's talk about abilities, Zetas, and Omicrons then. I feel it's easier for us to discuss this within swigger.gg. I'm going to take a look at all the Zetas, all the Omicron abilities, and I'm going to give you a priority list, okay? So, interestingly enough, Jocasta Nu is one of those few characters that has got a Zeta and an Omicron on her basic. Is it worthwhile? No. Alright? Now, I'm going to say that no with a giant asterisk, tribe, okay? The reason I'm giving it a giant asterisk is because we don't know how this is going to be useful, okay? Her Omicron essentially means that when she does a basic on her turn, she's going to grant all of her Jedi Vanguard allies every dispellable buff she has for 1 turn. Now, she does get a couple of buffs, and she does get Deflective Ward, which is quite a useful buff. It reduces all damage to 1 on the next hit that they take, but right now it just doesn't feel that great to have. It like passing buffs only on a basic on her turns. For the cost of 20 Omicrons, right now I have to say a big no on this. It also only applies once she's gone into that rifle stance. So if you can't get to that rifle stance, this is basically useless, alright? So let's talk about the Zeta then. Whilst she's in the rifle stance, if they had defense down, expose, or tenacity down, inflict that debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, and she gains the opposite buff for 1 turn. I don't think expose has got an opposite buff, but she's going to gain defense up and tenacity up. That's not too bad. If they have vulnerable, deal an additional damage based on 10% of her max protection, then recover 25% protection and gain 5 siphon until the end of the encounter. This Zeta is definitely worthwhile, okay? It's far better than the Omicron in my opinion, okay? Her dealing damage based on her max protection is kind of everything with her kit. She can ramp max protection, she can heal up that max protection, and then deal damage based on it. It's kind of everything she's built around. So this Zeta is a high priority Zeta, okay? The extra Siphon is what she's going to be using to be gaining additional max protection. Definitely worthwhile. Let's go on to the next ability. Next up is Shh, Quiet, which is what Mrs. Scribble tells me quite frequently. If all allies are Jedi Vanguard, dispel all buffs on all enemies, deal special damage to the target enemy and gain speed up for 1 turn and reduce the cooldown of It Does Not Exist by 10. Pretty good, right? So, her Zeta and her Omicron, once again, have to do with if she's in the rifle stance. So it's once she's changed over to the rifle stance and she's got a new ability, alright? So, deal bonus true damage equal to 100% of her current protection to the target enemy, cannot be evaded. Lose all your current protection, and she siphons max protection from the target enemy, which means she is going to be reducing their max protection and increasing her max protection. This is going to be based off the stacks of siphon, so say she has 10 siphon, she will take 10% of their mastery, 10% of their max protection, and she's going to gain subsequently 10% herself, right? Which can't be resisted. If the target enemy is defeated by this ability, gain max protection equal to the target enemy's max protection and gain 100% bonus protection for 1 turn. That is phenomenal. So say you kill a unit with this special ability, right? When she's in that rifle stance, you defeat a unit with that special ability, she's going to take all of their max protection. Say they had 100,000 max protection, she is going to get that. So this ability dealing a lot of damage is going to be absolutely key. The more max protection she has, the more damage it's going to be doing. Her damage from this is based on her current protection, of course. So if she's taken damage and she doesn't have full protection, it will do less damage. But she's got a lot in her kit that is based around percentile recovery of protection. Like that basic, if she hits a vulnerable character, she's going to recover 20% protection. There's a couple of other things that help her recover that max protection. So the bigger her max protection pool, the more she's going to recover when she does that protection recovery. And then on top of that, the more damage she's going to do with this ability. It's pretty huge. So let's look at the Omicron variant of this. Dispel all debuffs on all allies, set the target enemy's max health to 65 until the start of their next turn. I'm curious to know if this target sets their health to 65 before or after the damage is dealt. If that goes before the damage is dealt, you are almost guaranteed to get a kill with this ability, unless they've got boatloads of protection still. Or if they give you a means of attacking under protection, this would be absolutely phenomenal, okay? So it's a bit of a maybe. This feels like the most powerful Omicron right now, but we have to see how it's used in application. Because if it triggers before the damage, you're almost guaranteed to get the kill. If it's afterwards, the next hit is guaranteed to get the kill, right? Still very, very powerful. This is a number 1. The Zeta absolutely needs to be done. It's the Siphon. It gives you so much more max protection. It's where all the additional damage is coming from. High priority Zeta. Probably the number 1 Zeta to get, and probably the number 1 Omicron to get. All right, moving on. Next up is on her unique, and this is an absolute book, ladies and gentlemen, all right? She's got 25% additional max protection, increased to 50% if all allies are Jedi Vanguard at the start of battle, and is immune to protection disruption and cannot be revived. Okay, so obviously you want full Jedi Vanguard, 50% extra protection. We've already seen how protection recovery, protection-based damage is baked into her kit. So when it comes to modding, keep that in mind. She's going to inflict tenacity down until the end of her turn against the last enemy who inflicts a debuff on her, and the second time this has occurred on the same enemy in this encounter, Jocasta Nu, and she is in her rifle stance, they will get exposes, which of course feeds into the stuff that she does on her basic, right? Inflict defense down until the end of the turn on the last enemy that dealt damage to her. If this is the second time it has occurred in the same encounter, and she's in the rifle stance, they will get vulnerable, which is going to be triggering that protection recovery. So as you can see, this is all about trying to get her into that rifle stance as quickly as possible. Whenever she attacks an exposed enemy, she recovers 20% protection, already going back to that protection recovery, that max protection damage that we're doing on the special. When she recovers protection, gain 10% stacking offense for the rest of the encounter. Whenever she or an enemy gains foresight, you dispel it and she gains deflective ward, again reduces incoming damage to 1, which cannot be dispelled until she receives damage. She then recovers 20% protection and gains 20% turn meter once per turn. More protection recovery, incoming damage reduced to 1, which means they're not going to hurt her protection, and she's going to recover 20% protection, okay? Whenever a Jedi Vanguard ally uses a special ability, reduce the cooldown of It Does Not Exist by 1. That is her ability to bring out her lightsaber gun. While my turn is on cooldown, It Belongs in a Museum inflicts burning on the enemy for 1 turn. The first time Jocasta Nu is reduced to 1% health and she's in the rifle stance, she will dispel all debuffs, recover 100% health, gain damage immunity, which can't be dispelled, and takes a bonus turn. During that bonus turn, she's going to do her nuke ability, and then she is defeated, which cannot be prevented if any enemy survives. So if you actually clear the board, she doesn't die. At the start of the encounter, if she has used it, is up to you now, she is defeated. Whilst in Grand Arena, here's the Omicron element of this, okay? Jocasta Nu has a 100% counter chance and is immune to ability block. Whenever a Jedi Vanguard uses an ability, reduce the cooldown of It Does Not Exist by 1. Whenever she is stunned, gain deflective ward, which can't be dispelled until she receives damage. Okay, so in terms of order of priority, in terms of Omicrons at least, this is the second Omicron. Right now, until we know more about that passing buffs on a basic, this feels like the second most important Omicron, okay? 100% counter chance means she will be doing those basics, she will be gaining additional benefits on that. Now, I know some of the benefits of her basic only apply during her turn, but this is still very, very good. Immunity to ability block is absolutely clutch, guys. Not being able to be ability blocked means they can't slow down your ability to get into the rifle stance, and once you're in rifle stance, it means that they can't stop her specials from doing the large amounts of damage it needs to. The last part, which is almost arguably the most important clause here, if all allies are Jedi Vanguard, gotta be full Jedi Vanguard, guys, whenever they use an ability, reduce the cooldown of It Does Not Exist by 1. That's her ability to get to the rifle, okay? So every time they use any ability, that's even attacks out of turn, calls to assist, all of that nonsense, whenever they do that, they're going to reduce that cooldown. It has got a cooldown of 20, okay? You need to get there quickly, so this feels very important. Whenever she's stunned, gains deflective ward, which can't be dispelled until she receives damage. That's just nice. They stun her, she gains deflective ward, reduces the incoming damage that she's taken, so when she uses that first special in her rifle stance, she's going to do big, big damage, alright? So the Zeta element of this ability then, she's immune to protection disruption. We already know how important protection is on this girl. Having immunity to protection and disruption is vital, alright? Whenever a Jedi Vanguard uses a special ability, reduce the cooldown of It Does Not Exist by 1. So essentially with the Omicron, we're doubling up that cooldown, making it much quicker. Whenever an enemy gains foresight, dispel it, gain deflective ward, can't be covered, dispelled, resisted, yada yada yada, until she takes damage. Then she's going to recover 20% protection and gain 20% turn meter. And then there's the extra benefit on, you know, it belongs in a museum, gains burns. Okay, burning is okay. That's kind of the least important element, I think. That might come into play later on with different Jedi Vanguard that we get in, maybe even Mace. But this Zeta, highly, highly valuable. I definitely think that the first special is more important. So the order should be first special Zeta and Omicron, second special Zeta and Omicron, then basic Zeta. Hold off on that Omicron right now. I don't think that we need it, okay? Hopefully that makes a lot of sense to everybody at home. With the Omicron and Zeta order out of the way and the teams that we think we're going to be using this girl with, let's talk about modding. Ignore my modding right now, it's wrong. Alright, so I do think speed set and health set is the way to go, but my current thresholds are very, very short. I think she needs a lot more speed. Basically, I think you want to be running her with a Datacron that's got a 25% turn meter boost at the start to get her out the gate, get her nice and running fast, because the faster you take a turn, the better it'll be. I think like 330 plus on speed, the higher the better. And then I think you need to go max protection. As much protection as you possibly can. Right now, I'm running offense and crit damage over here. I don't think offense and crit damage is the way. I think every primary here should be protection, protection, protection. If you've got a very fast protection arrow, protection, speed secondary. Mod her like you would JML at Relic 9, essentially. If you can get a bit of offense in there as well, absolutely great. But that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to remod her after this video. I'm going to go full protection and as much speed as I can. I am not expecting her to have any great holds on defense currently in this 3v3. When it comes back round to 5v5 and potentially additional Jedi Vanguard that we're going to have by that time, that story might change, all right? But until then, I think that's definitely the way to use it. Let me know in the comment section down below. Did you unlock Jocasta Nu? How far did you take it? Are you excited to use her, or are you just waiting until Jedi Master Mace Windu comes out? Let me know, tribe. Make sure you hit that like button and consider subscribing, and I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.